We all know that life has gotten really expensive these days.
It's a little expensive.
Inflation has touched just about everything, and I think we've all seen our cost of living increase dramatically over the last 5 years. You might live in an area that you simply can't afford anymore, and you're looking for a more affordable option. Or maybe you're just interested in what it will cost you to live here in Georgia. Hi, I'm Sarah Maslowski with KeyPoint Homes Group. I'm a local real estate agent here in the Northeast Metro Atlanta area, and I specialize in helping clients from all over relocate right here to Georgia. The vast majority of people I receive calls from who are interested in Georgia decide on the north end of the state. So most of this information is going to be tailored to these areas. If you watch this video and think that the northern half of the state sounds too expensive for you,
too expensive, I'm done.
Middle and South Georgia are a lot more affordable. Of course, there are many contributing factors to this, and you can find out more about that in this video. So what do you need to budget for to live in the North Metro Atlanta area? The average cost of a home here in the Northeast Metro Atlanta area in May was $539,000. Now, this is as of filming this video in May of 2024, and the median sales price was around $434,000. The crazy thing about this graph is that you can see that back in January of 2021, the average sales price was $374,000 and the median was just $305,000. This is a massive increase in such a short period of time, but I know Georgia is not the only state that this is happening in. Keep in mind, this is the greater Atlanta market and not Georgia as a whole. Middle and South Georgia, west side of Atlanta, and the east side are going to be more affordable. But the reason for this is because the job opportunities, development, amenities, and all the things there are to do are very different in those parts of the state than they are here in the North Metro. Highly sought after areas like Suwanee, Johns Creek, and Alpharetta are definitely going to come with a premium price tag.
Prepare to pay the price, Chris.
Suwanee has an average sales price of $698,000, whereas Alpharetta is clocking in at $860,000, and Johns Creek topping the list with $955,000. Yes, Johns Creek has an average sales price just shy of $1 million. Now, these prices are so high because demand to be in these towns is also just as high. And it's because of their great schools, prime location, and an abundance of amenities, shopping, and development. Now, this doesn't mean that you can't find a home in the $300,000 to $500,000 range in the Northeast Metro Atlanta area, but these specific towns are not really going to be the place for that. You're gonna have to branch out to towns like Flowery Branch, where the average sales price is just under $500,000. Farther east in Grayson, where it's $458,000, or you can look in Winder, where the average sales price is $337,000. Now, if we take a look at the west and south side of Atlanta, those are going to be where you are going to have the most options as far as homes in the $300,000 to $400,000 range in towns like Dallas or McDonough. If you're interested in these areas, I have a fantastic agent partner that I can connect you with that is an expert in those areas, since my primary focus is on the north side and east side of the Metro Atlanta area. The Northeast Metro is definitely more developed. You've got more job opportunities, more highly ranked schools, and a bigger population. That doesn't necessarily mean it's better, especially if you are looking for something more rural and affordable, but that it's just a little bit of reasoning as to why it's going to cost you significantly more to be on the north side of Atlanta. Based on your budget, I can help you determine what areas will have the best options available for you, because this is, let's face it, one of the biggest factors that distinguishes each town from one another. Home prices have drastically increased over the last 5 years, and this certainly just hasn't affected the Northeast Metro Atlanta area. We've seen this all over the country. But places that have had high influxes of people moving to, like those expensive towns I listed off earlier, they've definitely had a higher impact price-wise on what you're paying for a home. I recently made a video about what you need to know if you plan on retiring in Georgia, and I went very in depth about how great it is here in the North Georgia area for retirees because of our senior property tax exemptions in many counties. If you want the full rundown, make sure you go watch this video. But there are different levels of school tax exemptions from seniors based on age, which removes a large part of your property tax bill. I'll give you an example. I'm helping some clients sell their home in Beaufort, which is in Gwinnett County, and they have a senior tax exemption, which at age 65 exempts you totally from paying the school portion of their property tax bill. Now, their tax bill this year was $669, while their neighbor next door was just over $1,600, because they are exempt from the school portion of their property tax bill. If you compare this to the tax bill of someone, let's say, who lives in Illinois with the same price of home, right around $500,000, depending upon what area you're in, you're looking at a tax bill close to $6,000 per year.
That's crazy. I don't believe that.
If you're a retiree, that's almost 10 times what you would pay here if you lived in a county with complete school tax exemptions if you were the right age. Now, even if you aren't 62 years or older, our property taxes here are still much more affordable than so many other states. A good rule of thumb to estimate what your property taxes are going to be is it's right around 1% of the purchase price of the property. Some counties may be a little bit higher, some lower, but 1% is a good estimate to make a budget off on of what the average here is in the North Metro area. The average for the whole state is 0.92%. When you rank the 50 states from highest to lowest, Georgia falls all the way down at 28, which means there's a good chance you're going to end up paying less here for property taxes than you do in the state that you currently live in, especially if you're coming from New Jersey, California, or Illinois. Another thing to note is that recently Georgia's income tax rate has seen major changes. Income used to be taxed on a progressive scale, but effective January 1st of 2024, Georgia transitioned to a flat tax rate of 5.49%. Georgia had 6 state income tax brackets during the 2023 tax year, ranging from 1% to 5.75%, with most people taxed at that highest tax rate. The state moved to a flat tax rate of just at 5.5% on January 1 of this year, which will, it's going to impact income taxes that are going to be filed in 2025. When you look at sales tax, Georgia has a 4% sales tax, but every county has their own additional sales tax. So you're looking at paying anywhere from 6 to 9% for sales taxes. Though there are just a few counties that you're going to pay 9% in. Fulton County, which is where Atlanta is located and a lot of Alpharetta is located, that's one of those counties where it's a little bit higher. 7 and 8% is most common throughout the state as a whole, whenever you look at everything all together. This means that your trips to Target and the grocery store are going to cost you a bit more if you live in Fulton County, which is taxed at that higher rate of 9%. Another thing that you need to know about the cost of living in Georgia is that your power bill may be a little bit higher than you're used to, especially if you're coming from a part of the country that doesn't need air conditioning, because air conditioning here in the South is absolutely a non-negotiable, especially in Georgia. In fact, you can't get a loan to buy a house if the home does not have AC. Depending upon the size of the house you are trying to cool and how low you keep the air conditioning, you can expect to pay in the $200 range up to $300 if you have a really big house in the summer months because of the AC.
Come in and enjoy the aircon. Come on.
Now, of course, some of your newer built homes are going to be a little bit more energy efficient and you may be a little bit under that $200 mark, but let's safe to budget for that. And that is typically what June through August, that's what your bill's going to look like. Now, we get a little bit cooler in September and you don't have to have the AC pumping so high during that time. And in the more mild months, that same home size can probably expect a power bill in the high to mid 100s. Really massive homes, you're looking at low 200s. Now, some folks with smaller homes and a gas fireplaces like to rely on them to keep their home warm instead of having to run their heat all winter. Gas is deregulated here in Georgia, meaning that you can use any company that will service your home. So you can shop around for the best rate and program. Many companies offer a seasonal program since fireplaces are the only items in some people's home that use gas. We do also have gas furnaces here, and of course, a lot of homes have gas ranges as well, and the gas for your hot water heater. But when it comes to gas, it's mostly used in the winter. Another cost that you are going to need to budget for is that most cities and counties here in the Northeast Metro do not include trash pickup in your taxes. So this is something that you're going to need to set up a service for on your own. There are a lot of different companies that will do this for you, and it's approximately a cost of $25 a month, unless you opt to take your trash to the recycling center in your town on your own, which you can do that for free. But who wants to do that? Just spend the $25.
Yeah, it's expensive, but it's worth it.
Something else you're going to want to budget for is pest control. Homes in Georgia are very prone to termites, so you'll want to make sure that you stay on top of your quarterly service and have a yearly termite bond in place to avoid any major issues. This was going to cost you a few $100s a year, but it's going to keep you from paying thousands down the road, and it'll keep your house free of creepy crawlers, which we have plenty here in Georgia. Another thing that you are going to need to take into consideration when you are planning on moving here is that public transportation, especially here in the northeast suburbs, does not really exist here in Georgia. So you are going to need a vehicle to get around. Sure, there are some people who do not have cars that have found their way around, but Georgia is not a very walkable place, especially here in the metro suburbs. And our public transportation, it leaves a lot to be desired. One sliver of good news is that we have lower than average gas prices right here in Georgia. Right now, the national average is $350 as we gear up going into July, but here in Georgia, the average is $320. Another thing that makes transportation cheaper here is that you do not have to have your car inspected every year or every 2 to 3 years. Now, there are some counties that do require an emissions test, but there isn't an inspection that's required like you have in many other states. You also don't have to have it inspected anytime you buy or sell a car like you may also have to do in other states. I'll be honest, as a resident of Hall County, I did not realize that emissions testing was a thing here in Georgia because it's not required in Hall County. In fact, it's only required in about 13 out of the 153 counties here in Georgia. And many of those are right here in the North Metro, like Gwinnett, Fulton, and Forsyth counties. When you are transferring a car from another state here to Georgia to get it registered, you are going to pay a one-time flat fee that's based upon the value of your vehicle. And then when it comes time for renewal each year, you're just going to pay a $40 to $50 tag fee, and that's it. So you're not going to incur a high car tag bill every single year like you may in other states. Georgia transferred to the system many years ago, and it's been a very nice change so that you're not hit with that big bill every single year, and you are able just to pay that really low fee. Now, you do pay the one-time fee whenever you are transferring your car over here in Georgia, and of course, if you're going to buy a new car, that one-time ad valorem tax is just charged in addition to the fees that they charge you at the dealership. But outside of that, it's just that one-time fee, and then you're paying your yearly car tag fee. The Northeast Metro Atlanta area has a very strong job market, and we have a thriving economy. We are home to some major tech companies, production and distribution centers, huge healthcare systems, poultry and food processing and producing plants, film and television, and the list goes on. All of these incredible opportunities are drawing in people from all over to work here in our great state. So I have to know, if you recently made a move to Georgia or you've been here for a few years, let me know some of the things that I may have left off that you think people should know about in the comments. I'm anxious to hear what you think. So how does this compare to the cost of living in whatever state you're watching me from? I'd love to know down below in the comments. Of course, if you are thinking about making a move here to Georgia, I would love to be your real estate agent. You can find my contact information in the pinned link in the comments below. And of course, if you're thinking about making a move, you need to watch this video next.